Hello, so this is a brief introduction to the pranayama practice, Anuloma, which means along with the hair or along within the natural order of things. So this is what we call a digitally controlled pranayama, which means we use our fingers to control the flow of air through our nostrils. And the control that's being added in this particular pranayama is to the exhalations. So what we'll be doing is controlling the flow of air through our nostrils using the thumb and the ring finger, stroke little finger, and you will take hold just below the bony structure of the nose, so where you slide your fingers down and feel the cartilage. That's where you will be pressing your fingers to control the flow of the exhalations. Now your middle finger and index finger, you've got two options here. You can either tuck them into the palm, so you're either holding like this or more of a pincer grip, which you need shorter nails for, like this, okay? Or you may have your fingers extended and lightly rest the fingers to this point between the eyebrows. Don't press into that point, but you can, feel into that contact. And it can be useful for preventing us from slumping forwards. Now what we want to make sure is that we're not doing this with the arm and we're taking hold in any way that we hold our hand, but we want to have our elbow tucked in towards the body like this. So we maintain an upright posture. We're not moving the head from side to side. So we want to think, because it's a pranayama practice, working directly with prana, we're working directly with the flow of prana through the central channel and the three main channels of the subtle body. So we don't want to sort of, in one way, put a kink in those channels by moving the head from side to side. So it just helps us to get more of a sense of flow of energy in the body, but also we stay more comfortable in our posture this way. Now, some people, when they are undergoing digital pranayamas, will get a little bit tired and a little bit achy in the shoulder and start to slump. One of the things you can do to counteract this is to pop your hand there underneath your elbow, so you've got that little bit of extra support however you're doing it. Try to be fairly loose with your hand as well, how you hold your hand. So whatever grip you're taking, try not to get it into a hard grip. You want to feel, again, that energy can flow through all parts of the body, and if we create tension in any part of the body, it's going to be a hindrance to that energy flow. So, as I said, this practice is based on the control of the exhalations. There are various stages of this practice, so we're just going to go through the first couple of stages of this practice, and they are that you will be inhaling through both nostrils. You can keep the mudra there, although sometimes it's advised to take the hand away from the face while you are inhaling and then bring it up for the exhalation, so you can move into it like this. I just prefer to keep the hand there and then loosen off my grip while I'm inhaling. And then as we exhale, we're going to lightly press into that part just below the bone of the nose. So what we effectively do is close the apertures of the nostrils a little, so we're just making them a little smaller, so it streamlines the breath. It has the impact of making the breath more even on the exhalation, and it also has the impact of allowing the breath to be extended, because obviously there's less air going through because it's a smaller space that the air is moving through. So the first stage will be inhaling through both nostrils and exhaling through both nostrils, but partially closing the nostrils. That's stage one. We're going to do that for a few rounds. Then stage 2, we will be inhaling through both nostrils, and then we're going to exhale, but we're going to exhale alternately through the left and the right nostril. So you will be inhaling through both, closing, keeping one nostril fully closed, the other nostril partially closed still, and then exhaling, then inhaling through both, fully closing one nostril, partially closing the other, and exhaling through that. So that's the stages that we're going to do today. So you may start by closing your eyes. Just rest your hands on your thighs or on your knees for a few moments so you can just settle into the breath. So it's really important that we come to pranayama practices from a state of calmness, from a state of steadiness. Because essentially these practices are a practice of intimacy with the subtle body. So we kind of want to quieten everything down so we can bring full attention into the practice, we can bring full attention into our breath, but we can stay soft and light around that. So, you know, it's easy for us as soon as we start employing specific techniques to breathing or yoga posture, whatever it might be, to get lost in the concentration of it, but we want it to be focused, yes, but we want a lightness, a softness around that, a spaciousness. So if at any point when you're breathing in any technique, if the breath becomes disturbed or you feel yourself sort of becoming tight or blocked in any way, then you just halt the practice, just breathe normally, have a few breaths, and then you might pick the practice back up once you've settled, and then you can return to the practice. But there's a point at which when, you know, the practice naturally completes itself, that we sort of feel, okay, I'm kind of done here, you know, it might start, the breath might start becoming a little disturbed, or we might just come to a natural close. And, you know, hopefully we can do that with calmness, but, you know, don't overly think I must do 20 minutes of pranayama or, you know, whatever it might be. If you start with the intention of 20 minutes and then you get 5-10 minutes in and feel like, actually I'm done, then respect that and be done with the practice. Okay, so let's begin. I'm going to do the practice as best as I can whilst I demonstrate. So we normally use the right hand, but obviously if you're left-handed you can use the left hand. So this is just traditionally partly in India because the right hand is the clean hand, but you know, it's perfectly okay to use your left hand if you're left-handed. So you may take the hand position that is most preferred for you, and it might be that you're on the tips of the fingers. Some people find this very sensitive, or the pads of the fingers. So, you know, whatever you're using, remember it's sensitivity between all the contact points. There's no hard pressing that's needed. Even to fully close a nostril, you don't have to press that hard. So we'll bring our hands up into position. And we'll just take a few breaths so we can have our hands here without taking the control of the nostrils just yet. So just taking a few breaths to settle. And then after a full exhalation, you're going to breathe in through both nostrils, completely open. And then exhale through partially controlled nostrils, applying that little bit of pressure against the nose. So the breath is slowed down, it's evened out, and you can continue with this practice, inhaling through both nostrils, exhaling through both nostrils but partially closed. So you may continue, and I'll explain the next stage again whilst you continue. And you only move to the next stage if you feel light, you feel free within the breath. If the breath is becoming tight, you don't move beyond the first stage. So this second stage, in a moment, you're going to continue breathing in through both nostrils. And then as you exhale, you're going to fully close your right nostril. You're going to partially close your left nostril and exhale through the left nostril. And then inhaling through both nostrils. You're going to exhale through the right nostril, it's partially closed, the left nostril is completely closed. And of course you continue this cycle, alternating between each nostril on your exhalation, inhaling through both fully open nostrils, exhaling through each nostril partially closed as we fully close the opposite nostril. As you breathe, you're staying light around your posture, you're staying centrally aligned, keeping the shoulders as relaxed as you can. A softness around the diaphragm, that sheet of muscle between the lungs and the abdominal organs. So the breath is able to flow freely. We can feel the expansion of the rib cage on our inhalations. We can feel that softening down through our exhalations. So just taking another round here, fully inhaling through both nostrils, exhaling through one, inhaling through both nostrils, exhaling through the other, and complete your round so you end exhaling on the opposite nostril that you first exhaled through. So you have breathed equally through both sides. And then when you've completed your rounds of practice, obviously this is a short introduction, you may extend that period of time if it feels natural and feels light. You then release your hands into your lap and then you just sit in the resonance of your breath. And then from here, you should practice a Savasana after a pranayama practice. You know, don't underestimate the power of the breath. So lie down for at least 5 minutes. I recommend 10 minutes as a minimum, but you know, 5 minutes as long as it's fully resting, and have some support under your head. So this just keeps the brain and the head cool after a pranayama practice. So I hope you enjoy this practice. You know, when you practice softness, lightness, and ease and space, this is what we're looking for all the time. So don't get overly caught up in the technique, and at any time if you need to, you just return to normal breathing, and then you can pick up the technique again lightly when you're ready. So I hope you enjoy this practice. Thank you very much.